What's up, everybody? Gillette drafted finalist Nasr Ahmed here, and I want to thank you guys for joining me on this Monday, July 30th edition of NST. I've got all your updates from the last 24 hours of sports coming right up. First, I just want to remind you guys to hop on over to drafted.ca, vote for your man Nasr Ahmed to become Canada's next sportscaster for the Score television network. Gotta do it quick, there's only 2 weeks left to go. And also, you guys can follow me on Twitter at NasrAhmed93. for even more sports updates. Now, let's get you to the headlines. So we kick off Monday's show with the Toronto Blue Jays, who just wrapped up a 6-game homestand against the Oakland Athletics and Detroit Tigers. In typical Blue Jays fashion, we were consistently inconsistent, losing 2 of 3 against the A's, while taking 2 of 3 against the Tigers. The only thing we learned about our beloved Bluebirds this week is that once again, we're looking at a 500 ball club in 2012. Before this homestand, we also finished 3-3 on an East Coast road trip that saw us swept at the hands of the Yankees and sweep the Boston Red Sox at Fenway. Even beyond that, we're now 11-12 in the month of July and 51-50 on the season heading into our series with the Seattle Mariners tonight. You won't find a bigger Jays fan out there than me, but I'm also a realist who can see things for what they truly are. That being said, I'm sick and I'm tired of hearing fans on the radio chastising Alex Anthopoulos for not making some knee-jerk reaction type of deal to land some middle-of-the-rotation guy like Ryan Dempster or Matt Garza. Wake up, Blue Jays fans. This team is not going to make the playoffs. And I could have told you that back in that cursed week in June that saw the Jays lose 3 of our top 5 starters to injury. I'm sorry, fellow Jays fans, but more patience is required, as this is shaping up to be another 82-win season. I really think the rest of the year should be devoted to developing our young, talented players so that come spring training 2013, they can make the jump to the big leagues permanently. Monday night's game in Seattle will kick off a 10-game road trip for the Blue Jays that'll see us travel to Oakland and Tampa Bay. 5-5 sounds about right. Ricky Romero will take the mound tonight for the Blue Jays as he'll try to bounce back from his own personal 6-game losing streak. An interesting rumor has been flying around the major leagues that the Toronto Blue Jays may be interested in acquiring Canadian first baseman Justin Morneau from the Minnesota Twins. Now this is a deal I wouldn't be opposed to, as Morneau probably wouldn't command a huge return, and he's also signed through the 2014 season. He could also recapture his power stroke in the hitter-friendly Rogers Center, not to mention the fact that he'd be an instant fan favorite. Now moving on to a baseball team that still is competing for a playoff spot, the Arizona Diamondbacks on Sunday completed a trade with the Houston Astros to acquire third baseman Chris Johnson for 2 minor league players. Arizona recently went 7-3 in a 10-game homestand and is now only 4.5 games out of first place in the NL West. Johnson was hitting .279 with 8 dingers and 41 ribbies in 92 games for the Houston Astros this season. The D-backs already feature one of the toughest lineups in the National League, and Johnson's only going to make them stronger. However, if they really want to make this late surge for the postseason, it's their starting rotation that has to step it up. Guys like Kennedy, Saunders, Cahill, they're going to have to push them past the Dodgers and the Giants. Houston obtained infielder Bobby Borchering and outfielder Mark Krause in the trade, Houston's 5th this month. The Astros dealt first baseman Carlos Lee to Miami for 2 prospects on July 4th. Then they sent pitchers Jay Happ and Brendan Lyon to Toronto in part of a 10-player trade on July 20th. Then traded closer Brett Myers to the Chicago White Sox for 2 minor league pitchers on July 21st. Finally, the Astros traded left-handed pitcher Wandy Rodriguez to the Pirates for 3 minor leaguers last Tuesday. Borchering has 20 homers and 68 ribbies this season. He was Arizona's very first pick in the 2009 amateur draft, and he's impressing scouts, as he was rated by Baseball America as the best power hitter in the D-backs organization in 2012. Krause was hitting .283 with 15 home runs and 61 RBIs this season in Double-A. I know the Astros absolutely stink this year, and they probably will for a few seasons, but I really love the moves that they're making right now, as they're building a strong foundation of solid young prospects, and who knows, they might even contend in the AL in a few short seasons. On to another baseball move made on Sunday. This time it was an American League team trying to improve their chances at making the postseason. The Oakland A's traded relief pitcher Faustino de los Santos to the Milwaukee Brewers for Canadian catcher George Kottaras. The Athletics desperately needed a boost to an offense that ranks in the bottom half of every major statistical category. And on further examination, They failed to do so with this move. The Scarborough, Ontario native Kottaras doesn't represent that much of an upgrade over current starting catcher Kurt Suzuki. Kottaras is a career .220 hitter and doesn't feature that much power in his game either, but he does draw a lot of walks as he has a very good on-base percentage. Suzuki, who has been struggling this season, is still a career .250 hitter and features a lot more pop in his bat and is a year younger than the Canadian. In Oakland's defense though, Kottaras has never received regular playing time thus far in his career, so perhaps they see something in him beyond the numbers. The Brewers are receiving a 26-year-old right-handed reliever who's posted a 4.21 ERA his first 2 seasons with an incredible 11.4 strikeout rate per 9 innings. Some big news out of the NFL now, as the St. Louis Rams have locked up one of their best and brightest young stars, signing former second overall pick defensive end Chris Long to a 4-year contract extension. Financial terms have not yet been released, but the contract is expected to be huge. The 6th-year lineman has been steadily improving each and every season, recently coming off his most productive campaign, finishing with 13 sacks and 37 tackles. With new head coach Jeff Fisher now in the fold, and with Long locked up for the foreseeable future, the Rams may finally be ready to build off their success from 2010. We now turn our attention across the pond, where some Canadian athletes are making some noise in London. Starting with tennis, the pride and joy of Thornhill, Ontario is advancing to the 2nd round after his straight sets victory over Japanese player Tatsumo Ito. Raonic didn't have a very good showing at Wimbledon this year, but don't let that fool you. The grass courts at the All England Club play right into Milos' power game, and he took advantage of that, scoring 10 aces in his first round match. However, it is the Olympics and the field is very tough. The road to a medal won't be an easy one, as Raonic will experience his first true test in the 2nd round as he takes on the 6th ranked player in the world, Frenchman Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. In other Olympic tennis news, Quebec native Alexander Wozniak is also through to the 2nd round, but is faced with a daunting task, facing Venus Williams on grass. Good luck, Alexandra. You're gonna need it. From the court to the pool now, where the very first Canadians made an appearance on the podium at these 2012 Olympic Games. On Sunday, Canadian divers Emilie Heymans and Jennifer Abel earned the bronze medal in the women's synchronized diving. In addition to winning Canada's very first medal at these Olympic Games, Heymans made history Sunday as she became the first Canadian to win 4 medals in 4 consecutive Olympics. We close out this edition of NST with a shocking finish that went down in the men's 4x100 freestyle relay. In an upset, the Americans earned a silver medal, finishing behind France in stunning fashion. Back in 2008, it was the US who had come from behind to claim the gold. This year was France, as new Olympic it boy Ryan Lochte gave up the lead. In a curious decision, the US decided to let Lochte anchor the race, despite his inexperience in the event. Also, they moved Michael Phelps out of his customary leadoff spot. Nathan Adrian's got the US off to a fast start, putting the Yankees in first. That lead was then extended on a sizzling leg by Michael Phelps. Cullen Jones held that lead and virtually handed the gold to Lochte in what can only be described as a shocking upset. Lochte couldn't hold on, and the French were able to squeak out the first place victory. Lochte will get his own shot at redemption, as he'll compete in the 200-meter freestyle today. Well, that does it for this edition of NST. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. And I want to remind you, with only a little over 2 weeks left to go in this competition, you guys can go to drafted.ca, vote for your man Nasr Ahmed to be the next sportscaster for the Score television network. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, at NasrAhmed93. And I also want to get you guys at home more involved. So if you have any questions you want me to answer, or any topics you want me to talk about on my show, feel free to tweet them. Make sure you guys come back and check out Tuesday's edition of NST. Till tomorrow, take care, folks.